Education played a big role in developing Margie's patriotism. Since she grew up in an upper-class family, Margie was privileged enough to go to a private bilingual school. Margie's parents saw that giving her a good education was one of the most important things that they could do. They wanted Margie to grow up and be intelligent enough to sift through all of the lies and propaganda that was around, so she could become an intelligent individual who could become anyone that she wanted to be. Because she grew up in a modernistic, politically active family, Margie was given many freedoms when it came to her beliefs and her personal education. Margie documents that she would spend most of her time as a kid reading about popular political radicalists such as Karl Marx. One source, Tom O'Brien, stated that, quote, "The goal of education is to get kids to question everything," unquote. It can be seen that this was the intention of Margie's parents. They wanted Margie to make her own decisions and become her own person. It was because of this focus on her education, in correlation with her influential literature reading, that allowed Margie to recognize the corruption in the government and allowed her to strive to keep her personal freedoms despite the growing oppressions. Margie's family greatly influenced her natural patriotism. Her family has a rich political history, and some, according to Margie at least, are even heroes. As all parents do, Margie's parents helped to shape Margie's political views. Throughout Persepolis, the satrapy's patriotism can be seen time and time again. One recurring way that Margie's parents expressed their patriotic duties is by attending demonstrations against such things as the Shah and the Veils. On one particular occasion, Margie was even permitted to accompany her parents to a demonstration, and she even got the opportunity to pass out flyers in opposition to the Veil. Her parents felt that Margie was ready to grow up and begin fighting for her inalienable rights. It was here that Margie saw the terrors that occurred at these demonstrations. Margie witnessed a lady being stabbed for speaking out against the government, and many others were flogged. Margie makes a point in mentioning that this was her family's last demonstration. Even at a young age, it can be seen that Margie had a patriotic mind. Typical kids desire to become doctors, lawyers, and astronauts when they grow up. Margie, however, wanted to grow up to be just like the great revolutionaries of the time. At the young age of 10, Margie would gather her friends and pretend that they were people like Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and Leon Trotsky. As these pretend characters, they would march around in the garden and demonstrate about the corrupt government. Afterwards, they would sit around and discuss how great the revolution was. For children around the age of 10, this is a very heavy topic for children to discuss, let alone to comprehend. It's sort of ironic how these innocent children wanted so badly to be these revolutionaries, even if it resorted to violence. This definitely shows that patriotism is an important thing to Margie. Margie's uncle Anoush played a big role in developing Margie's love for patriotism. At nighttime, Anoush would tell Margie stories about how he would resist the government and be on the run from them. Margie would commonly listen in on the conversations that her father and Anoush would have concerning the political state of Iran. Occasionally even, Margie would attempt to participate in these conversations. It was because of conversations like these that Margie was able to grow such a passion and fight for the things that she loved. After the Islamic regime took over control of Iran, the national anthem was replaced with an old religious hymn. Once the war with Iraq began, the satrapies became demoralized about their country. Once they heard the old Iranian national anthem, which had not been heard over a year, being played over the radio, they instantly became overwhelmed with love for their country. This rallying together in the time of imminent warfare shows how great the satrapi's patriotism really is. After moving to Europe, Margie became ashamed of who she was. She even denied her identity several times because of how Iranians were viewed in Europe. On one occasion, however, after being ridiculed by her classmates for lying about her nationality, Margie replied by shouting, quote, "I am an Iranian and proud of it," unquote. It was after this instance that Margie learned what patriotism really is. As one source states, quote, "Patriotism should include an attachment to the country's land and people, admiration for its customs and traditions, pride in its history, and devotion to its welfare," unquote. By accepting who she was and where she came from, Margie truly realized this and became a patriot.